The following program depicts exercises which, depending on your physical condition, may be hazardous to your health. As with all exercise programs, you are therefore warned not to attempt any of these exercises without first consulting your physician. The instructions and advice presented are not intended as a substitute for medical counseling. Evolution Health and Fitness and the producers assume no responsibility for any injuries incurred resulting from the use of this video. Before attempting to participate in the following class, please watch the entire video to familiarize yourself with all of the movements and concepts presented.
Time passes. Maybe you're active, and maybe you're not. Overuse and non-use actually have similar debilitating, stiffening effects on the body. Either you've already hurt yourself, or it's just becoming more difficult to do what you want to do. Sound familiar? Of course it does. I know, because I was on that path myself. But what we have before us is a socially accepted, abnormal norm. And just because growing stiff and becoming decrepit is normally expected with the aging process, it doesn't have to be that way. I repeat, it does not have to be that way. There is a simple way to avoid this all too familiar scenario and to actually undo these ravages of time. I've experienced it myself, and I've seen it work on hundreds of people, just like you, or worse. Couch potatoes, athletes, and everyone at any age and fitness level will benefit. It's an easy-to-understand flexibility routine. Nothing too complex or unreasonable, just variations on a theme of a few basic movements, which, if performed on a consistent basis, will give you a level of flexibility rare in our society. This flexibility routine is called Flextasy, and you will find, if you give it a chance, that it appeals to your logic. And it will enable you to achieve and maintain the flexible, pain-free body you so rightly desire and deserve. Growing older does not have to be synonymous with inflexibility and pain. You can turn back the clock with this flexibility routine. The answer is here. The waiting is over. Your path is clear. Now it's up to you to begin the journey.
Hi, my name's Blue Dunn, and I'm the originator of the Flextasy system of flexibility. First of all, congratulations. Your desire to learn more about your body and to become more flexible have led you to this videotape for good reason, and I assure you, you won't be disappointed by what you're about to learn. For the past 15 years, I've been studying the body. My fields of expertise include body mechanics, balance, and flexibility. I've gained my experience through mastering structural release realignment therapy, teaching and performing tightrope and tightwire walking, and teaching movement reorientation classes here in the United States and in Europe. My goal with this tape set is to completely change your perceptions and your attitudes concerning what flexibility is all about and how to achieve it. The Flextasy routine is a result of literally thousands of hours of research, and it effectively solves the mystery as to just what is the simplest and the easiest method to become flexible and to remain flexible throughout your entire life. The class you're about to participate in is very special in that it combines many unique types of movements based on some rather uncommon ideas and concepts which over time I have discovered are absolutely crucial in the quest for flexibility. Now, many of these movements will be new to you, and all of them feel great once you become familiar with them. This is a wonderful routine for anyone, athlete or non-athlete. In fact, I believe it is the only flexibility routine you will ever need to know and practice. It's that powerful. As you practice these movements from day to day, you will notice that they become easier and the range of motion through all of your joints will increase. This means more flexibility, more graceful movement, and more balance. It will also mean less pain in your body. The Flextasy system is based on an ancient Chinese proverb which states, "That which is flexible and flowing will prosper and grow. That which is rigid and blocked will wither and die. The truth is, and you know this, you're either getting more flexible day by day or you're getting stiffer day by day. There really is no middle ground, even though the process is a gradual one. Now, there are three main aspects to physical culture, these being flexibility, strength, and endurance. And they should be pursued in this order, with flexibility always being a part of the process. Unfortunately, many people, in fact, you may know someone like this personally, work on their strength, try to build their endurance, then if there's a little bit of time left over, will stretch a token amount, usually incorrectly, and I can assure you, incompletely. Now, as a result, sports medicine has grown at an alarming rate, focusing on the treatment of injuries instead of looking for the cause, which is in virtually all cases traceable back to a lack of flexibility and the inevitable misalignment of the skeleton caused by inflexibility. The good news is that by adopting a regular practice of the Flextasy routine, you will not only gain undreamed of flexibility, but you will also be realigning your very skeleton in the process, as well as learning about what is a mystery to most people, body mechanics. How this skeleton is supposed to be able to move. You know, I've worked with people from all walks of life, world-class athletes included, and my provable conclusion is that if you cannot easily and effortlessly perform the simple movements which make up this routine, then you have no business trying to do athletics of any kind if you don't want to risk hurting yourself. Not to mention the fact that if you can't do this routine, then your performance will be greatly hindered. You wouldn't think of taking your car on a road trip without a tune-up, with the tires half flat and the wheels out of alignment. Yet most people don't think twice about beginning or continuing an exercise program with a body already tight and distorted from inflexibility. It's crazy. I must say, I declare war on the prevalent concepts presently put forth which allow and encourage people to exercise before they have achieved a certain bottom line level of flexibility. And the bottom line level of flexibility I'm referring to is exemplified by Flextasy. This flexibility routine will change your life if you let it. With patience and persistence, you can transform your body and you can feel like a new you. Not by efforting and not by struggling and straining. I'm sure you have enough of that in your life already. This workout is not about causing more pain. It's about letting go and dissolving your pain. And it's about making friends with your body and learning about yourself in the process. Now, I encourage you to think about these movements you're about to learn not as exercise, but rather as explorations through your skeleton. And one fundamental concept which must be understood is this: the chronic pain that you feel in your muscles is not the fault of the muscles, but rather the habitual ways that you move your skeleton. Especially if a gym like this is a familiar setting for you and you've been using free weights, weight machines, treadmills, or Stairmasters, then I know you're getting stronger, and I know that in the course of bulking up and shortening muscles, you are also getting stiffer. It's inevitable. All muscles cross joints, attaching bone to bone. Now, no matter how much of the stretching of the muscles that you do, or even if I could unzip you and put all brand new muscles in, if you're not moving your skeleton in ways which will take advantage of the three-dimensional ranges of motion available, then the tissue which is not being used or is being abused will suffer, becoming dense, dehydrated, distorted, and toxic. Especially the tendons and the ligaments and the cartilage in and around the joints, instead of it being resilient, becomes rather like beef jerky. Now, that's not a pretty picture, but that's where the pain comes from. By moving your skeleton in all the ways it was designed to move, all the muscles will be continually being flushed out and fluffed up as they slide on each other and the bones, and in this way become and remain healthy and happy. Remember, flexibility is not so much about stretching your muscles, it's about focusing on the range of motion of all the joints and hinges of your skeleton. Look around. It's easy to see that we shape the body by our habitual, everyday movements. If you want to change your body, you must change the ways you move it. Now, the reason grown-ups are stiff and inflexible and kids aren't, it's not because of age. It's simply the ways they move on a daily basis. Think about it. Kids are always racing around, chasing each other, wrestling and rolling, climbing up stuff, jumping up and down on the couch, diving under the coffee table. It's a beautiful thing. While we sit there on the couch and tell them to settle down and then have to go to classes or buy tapes like this one, which attempt to teach us how to reclaim our body by simulating the kinds of activities kids intuitively perform. It's incredible. Anyway, one of the major keys to your flexibility lies in being able to visualize and truly experience the mechanics of your skeleton. You've got to make friends with your skeleton and all of its parts. Now, this is your pelvis. This bone back here is your sacrum. And actually, this is your SI joints, sacroiliac joints. These four bones, the two clavicles in the front and the two scapulas in the back, comprise the shoulder girdle, which actually is supposed to have independent movement from the rib cage. The rib cage, which is not supposed to be rigid, but which is supposed to be springy, with all of these ribs actually having independent movement. And of course, the spine. Now, the spine is not just one thing either. It's actually, hopefully, 25 separate pieces. I want you to visualize and try to experience your spine like a slinky, beginning here at the base of the skull and ending down here
At the sacrum.
springy, capable of multidimensional movement. How close is your spine to a slinky? So these are a few of the major pieces of your skeleton, which you'll get to know better as we go through the Flextasy routine. Piece by piece, taking the skeleton apart and then putting it back together better than before. The purpose of this routine is empowerment and self-knowledge. It's about draining tension and internalized stress out of your joints and tissues. It's about freeing your body and calming and centering your emotional self as well. And I've got to tell you, it just doesn't get any better than that. So without further ado, let's go to the studio and I'll prove to you that improving your flexibility is within your reach and that it can actually be an enjoyable process. So let's go.
Reset your VCR counter to 0 now if you would like to have the class queued up for next time.
Hi, welcome to the studio. Now before we get started, there are a few very important preliminary points I'd like to go over with you. So first, in your mind's eye, I want you to melt all the meat off your bones. For the next hour, I want you to visualize and truly feel your skeleton as we explore the various ranges of motion this routine consists of. Second, I want you to be extremely conscious of your breathing. In order to take you out of the realm of conventional stretching and calisthenics, the use of the breath is the ticket to the place where flexibility is found. It is the key to unlocking your body. You will use your exhales to soften and release your body, relaxing into the movements I will be guiding you through. Remember, all release happens with the breath. Third, there is a triangle on the bottom of your foot between the heel and the outside balls of your foot. Send the weight down to the ground through these triangles so your weight is spread evenly. The placement of the feet is extremely important. I want you to keep your feet hip width and parallel unless otherwise instructed. Hip width is not very wide. Find it by making the outside of your legs parallel. And parallel your feet by keeping your medial or inside arches parallel. Now, I won't be there to keep an eye on you, so you must watch your feet positioning yourself. Fourth, keep your knees slightly bent at all times unless I specifically tell you to lock them. This will keep your back flat and in a neutral position so that the whole spine will be safely addressed by your movements. And last, it's not the number of repetitions which are important in this flexibility routine, but rather it's the precision of the movements. It's better for you to do 1 repetition slowly and correctly than to do 10 quickly and wrong. The slower you go, the better. You're striving for quality and not quantity. Remember, this is supposed to be fun, not a struggle. Imagine you are a big cat stretching after getting up from a nap, performing nice, long, luxurious stretches. Move at your own pace and don't judge yourself against us or anyone else. Each of us are on our own personal journey through the body. Please feel free to stop the video as many times as you want to as you're learning this routine, or simply to take more time with individual movements. I highly recommend doing this with any movements you find troublesome. Don't gloss over movements you find difficult, because this is where you need the work. All these movements have their purpose, so don't sell yourself short. Now I'd like you to meet Petra and Annette. who will be joining us for our class today. And by the way, I've decided not to include any music on these tapes, so you can feel free to choose your own music each day. So we're ready if you are. Let's begin. Feet parallel and hip width, hand on the belly, hand on the sacrum, pelvic tilts. Pelvis moving separate from the rib cage, warming the hips up. Spine unrolls, bending the knees as much as you need to touch the floor in the inhale, and exhaling, drop the pelvis and start to round up. Inhale through the nose on the way down, and exhale through the mouth as you drop your pelvis a little bit, rounding up, stacking those vertebrae up on top of the sacrum, one at a time. The arms, hands, shoulders stay relaxed. Head comes up last. Pushing the feet down into the floor.
Keep your knees bent, even when you get to the top.
Rounding up, holding on to the rib cage nice and high. For waist circles, bend the knees and begin circling. Pelvis is moving separate from the rib cage. This is a nice move for massaging the low back and the sacroiliac hinges. Reverse.
Keep your knees bent.
Soften the belly. Keep your feet flat. Back to center. Rib cage float. Arms out to the side. Bend the knees. Back flat. Begin letting the rib cage move from side to side. Softening the belly.
Feet are parallel and hip width. We're using the movement of the skeleton to massage all the muscles of the back and the entire length of the spine.
And back to center. Rib cage push. Hands on the pelvis. Push against the thumb. Same movement. We're just trying to let the rib cage float from side to side, but we're walking the thumbs up into the soft space between the ribs and the pelvis. Try to soften the muscles around your thumbs. Keep the chest dropped. And back to center. Knee circles, feet together, hands on the knees. Reverse. Step the feet to hip width, put the fists in between the knees and circling. Reverse. Keep the toes unclenched and the feet flat. It's good to do this routine with bare feet if you're not doing it with bare feet already. Okay, back to center. Cat stretch. Head looks up. Inhale. And exhale. Chin to the chest. This is standing cat stretch. Rounding the back up. Visualize a rainbow from the tip of your tailbone all the way up to the crown of your skull.
Do this move slow enough so you can feel the spine lengthening as you arch in each direction.
Back to center, sacral scooping. Remember the sacrum shaped like a nice shovel back here. We're going to reach back and scoop. Tuck under. Try to feel that undulating wave travel up your spine, through your ribs, and under your shoulder girdle. Just relax the head and the neck, relax your shoulders, and back to center. Hip circles. Pelvis over to the left, round your back up, pelvis over to the right, and arch out behind. Try to keep the lower legs perpendicular to the floor. Relax the shoulders. This is a wonderful move for massaging the low back. And back to center, reverse, pelvis over to the right, round up, over to the left, and arch out behind. Breathe.
Spine still floats up and down, just like in the cat stretch.
and back to center. Hamstring stretch, check your feet parallel. Turn to the side, hook the thumbs on the front and the back of the calf, fingers facing opposite directions, elbows wide. Exhale, bring your face down to the side of your knee. Then inhale across to the other side. Same setup, exhale, and relax. So this is where we can really find out about how to use the breath as we soften the body. So with each exhale, you want to just let your rib cage deflate, just like air out of a balloon.
Pause a moment at the end of each exhale.
Let the shoulders relax. And feel the spine lengthen. Don't worry about locking your knees. Just let your knees be as bent as they need to be. Once more to each side. Back to center. Bend the knees as much as you need to touch the floor. Shake your head loose. Lock and unlock your knees.
Do not roll to the outsides of your feet.
With each exhale, try to let your chest drop down toward your thighs. A little bit more. Lock your knees. Keep your hands and your feet stationary and let the pelvis move from side to side, from right to left. Keep breathing. Enjoy that nice stretch up across the back of your knees.
Press your medial arches into the floor.
Now, if you can't do this easily, just practice. Put your hands on the low step of a stool or the lowest of a step of stairs, okay, until you can get used to doing this so you're not hanging in midair. Back to center, bend the knees, tuck the chin, round up. Head comes up last. Good. Feel how that move just helps relax the whole low back. Now we're going right up into reach for the sky, so we have palms facing each other. Bend the knees so we keep the back flat, and begin reaching up. One exhale to each side. This is a decompression move. It's not just an arm and a shoulder stretch. You want to feel this stretch all the way down the side, stretching the ribs apart like fingers spreading apart. And feel that stretch through the leg, through the hip, all the way down into the floor.
Really reach up through your fingers.
Okay, back to center. Arms out to the side, bend the knees, back flat, chest is dropped. Waist twists. Lock your pelvis, energize your legs and lock your pelvis. Try to keep it locked to the front so you don't take the twist down into the ankles. We don't want to be twisting the ankles. We want to keep the whole stretch happening between the bottom of the spine and the shoulders. Try to visualize or feel your rib cage filled with helium floating up away from your pelvis. Decompressing your spine. And back to center. Standing side stretch. Step the feet wide. Medial arches still parallel with each other, and bend the knees. Keep your knees bent throughout this movement so you keep your back flat. Okay, we go to the left. Hand on the left knee, shoulder back, palm forward. Exhale, stretch. Reach through the arm. Inhale, straight forward. And exhale, reach back to the left as though you're reaching around a tree in front of you. Come back to the front, hands on the knees, and round up. To the right. Exhale, stretch. Inhale, straight forward. Reach back around. Feel that stretch all the way down into your low back. Come back to the front, hands on the knees, round up. To the left calf, exhale, stretch. Inhale, straight forward. Exhale, reach back to the left, to the front, hands on the calves, round up. Right calf, exhale, stretch. Inhale, straight forward. Exhale, reach back to the right, to the front, and round up. This one has 3 parts, so pay attention. Here we go. We slide all the way down to the ankle. Even if you have to roll forward, come all the way down to the ankle. Exhale. Come back up to the knee, push the shoulder back, down again. Come back up. Once more, push it back. Keep your knees bent. Exhale. Inhale, straight forward. Exhale, reach back to the left, to the front, hands on the ankles, round up. Once more, to the right, here we go. All the way down to the ankle. Exhale. Come back up to the knee, push the shoulder back. All the way down. Once more, we come up, push it back. Little by little, we're establishing a nice side plane here. Inhale, straight forward. Reach back around to the right. Come back to the front, hands on the ankles, round up. And come into a horse stance. In horse stances, keep those medial arches lifted. We want to see a nice little arch in there. Sit down on the horse, back is flat. Palms come up, facing forward. Put those palms back behind your head, but try not to arch your back. And we lift up. Exhaling once to each side. This is another decompression move where we're lifting up through the whole torso, trying to pull the torso up away from the pelvis. Back to center, and we scoop out to the front. It's the same movement now. We just pull the arm gently across the center line, trying to elongate down the side, still stretching those ribs. And back to center, round up. Now we're going down to the floor for the groin stretch. So we'll start on the floor with the left heel out, bend the right leg, and angle that foot out as much as you can. You put your left hand behind you, and you want to try to press up to get your butt off the floor. Okay, this is position 1. Position 2, if you can, you put this left hand inside here underneath your thigh. Position 3, if you can, you put your hands out here. If you can't get into this position, you can practice by holding on to something, a heavy object, a table leg or doorknob, something like that. Okay, so once you're in this position, we start to rock the leg loose. Shake it loose all the way up here in the hip joint.
You must keep the heel of your support foot on the floor for this move to be effective.
Piece by piece, we're taking the skeleton apart, and then we're going to put it back together better than before. Lean into this bent leg if you can. And come up and over to the other side. Extend the right leg. Push this left heel away so we get a nice stretch up the back of that leg. Angle this out. Don't collapse this arch. Try to push that back and press up. Remember, position 1, position 2, or position 3. It doesn't matter which position you're in. You're just working towards this. But remember, even if you have to help yourself by holding on to something, it gets your body used to being in this position. And then we're rocking this leg loose. The femur should be loose here from the pelvis. Femur is your thigh bone here. Lean into this bent leg. Okay, great. And we drop down. Gluteal stretch. Begin sitting on your right hip and point your right knee forward. Extend your left leg out behind, and we lower down. So this is the start position, and we begin by pushing into the right elbow and lift that hip off the floor just a little bit. So we're lifting it up just a few inches and dropping it back down. Feels pretty good, doesn't it? Well, if it doesn't yet, it will. Little by little, it'll start to loosen up. Now remember, these are some of these floor moves is where you might want to pause the tape so that you can take a little bit more time to go deeper into these stretches, okay? These hip openers won't happen overnight. You're going to have to just really spend some time with them. Okay, let's switch.
Begin sitting on the left hip, point the left knee forward, extend the right leg out behind. Lower your chest down. Begin with that hip on the floor, press your left elbow into the floor, and just lift that left hip off the floor a little bit. So we just lift it up and set it back down. And when you set it back down, full exhale. Just pause. Try to relax the whole body. That's where the release happens. If you're doing it too quickly or you're holding your breath, basically you're back to stretching and doing calisthenics. It's not going to get you more flexible. To enhance this stretch, each exhale, you can try to elongate your torso out over your thigh and extend your other leg out behind. So we get a nice long body. So we come up out of there. It's one of my favorite moves. The frog. We're doing 2 frogs. This is frog number 1. So spread your knees as wide as you can, and we want the lower legs parallel with each other. So look back, make sure your lower legs are parallel with each other, and turn your feet out at right angles to your lower legs. We begin here in the neutral position with the pelvis basically straight up from the floor, and then we push back, push the pelvis back toward the heels. Now that feels good, doesn't it? So even if it doesn't feel good right now, little by little, it will as it starts to loosen up, just as with all these movements. Now we come all the way forward. Try to keep your heels down. That's where the stretch is happening if you keep your heels down. We lower all the way down, exhaling, softening, and then push back again. So we're just working back and forth. Now I know this is going to be one that you want to pause the video and take some more time with this. If you find this very difficult, like these girls, I think, do, you're going to want to definitely take some more time. Frog number 2. We come back to neutral. We bring the feet together, at least the toes touching. Ultimately, you want to try to keep the whole bottom of the feet together. And we lower down. Here we let the pelvis drop all the way forward. So crawl yourself forward. Walk your elbows forward so the pelvis can start to drop down, and try to keep your feet on the floor. If your feet come off the floor, you're losing the stretch. Just relax. Keep trying to inch the knees apart. Now we're going to add the shoulder girdle release push-ups to this. So we have the palms down and the forearms parallel with each other. The upper arm is perpendicular to the floor. The movement is this. We lower the chest down so the scapulas slide together, and push up, scapulas slide apart. Try not to drop forward, bending at the elbows. We want to just feel the scapulas sliding on the ribs toward the spine and away from the spine. Also, this helps take the mind off your stretching groin muscles. Unwind slowly up out of that. And we come over sitting. Bring both legs across to the left for a hip push. Make sure this back foot is also turned out at right angles to the lower leg. So begin by sitting with your hand on top of your left hip, other hand on your knee. If you need to put it on the floor, that's fine, but try to stabilize this knee so it doesn't bob up and down. We want all the movement to be happening through this hip. So we begin, lift and drop. There's a hinge. There's supposed to be a hinge right here. Now, if this doesn't move very much, that's a clue. That means that all these muscles have shrunk and jammed the femur up into the pelvis. So just by making this movement, it helps to loosen everything. We take the front foot, the right foot, out to the side, push the heel away, and point these toes to the ceiling, straight up. It's the same movement. We lift up and drop down, lift up and drop down. If it's extremely tight on you, just by sitting here in this position and trying to breathe, maybe just wiggle a little bit, can help to loosen this up, and then little by little start to make these movements. Okay, over to the other side, both legs across to the right. Get yourself set and begin lifting. Paying attention to the hinge right straight through here. So we're using the movement of the skeleton to massage all the tissue, especially the cartilage, deep here in these joints. Let's take the front foot, left foot out to the side, push the heel away, point these toes to the ceiling, and begin lifting and dropping, lifting and dropping. So we lift that the right buttock off the floor and set it back down. Ideally, it wants to start on the floor, come off the floor, and end up back down on the floor again.
Try to keep your foot pointing straight up toward the ceiling.
Back to center. Now for a relatively easy one for anybody, let's hope. Hip rocking. So we sit up straight, reach around over the top of the right leg and cradle it. This is hip rocking. We're going to try not to twist and torque this foot too much. Pull the ankle bone toward your sternum, the front of your rib cage here. Sit up and begin rocking. Point this left foot toward the ceiling, the toes to the ceiling, push the heel away. Reverse, other side. Ankle toward the sternum. We're rocking the pelvis loose from this straight leg, giving that hip a nice massage. Back to center. Sitting side stretch. Cross the legs. Try to get the feet out from under the legs so that the knees can go down as far as possible. Hands behind the head, elbows wide. Drop over toward the knee and go behind the knee all the way to the floor if you can. Full exhale. Then inhale up and over to the other side. This is a decompression move as well. We're trying to elongate and lengthen both sides, not just crunch one of these sides. And we want to feel the ribs spreading apart again, just like fingers. Take a pause at each side and fully relax.
Go at your own pace. Pause the tape if you need to.
Back to center. Recross the legs the opposite way. For the twist, we turn and try to elongate the torso out over this leg, trying to aim your sternum toward your knee. Try to keep this opposite knee and pelvis down, side of the pelvis. Twist, exhale, and lengthen. And we come up and over to the other side, twisting, dropping, exhaling. Breathe.
Try wiggling down the length of your spine as you inhale, and drop and lengthen forward as you exhale.
Come back up to center. Inverted frog stretch. We reach and grasp the feet. Walk your pelvis back away from your heels, and actually just rocking in this position can really help to loosen up this pelvic girdle and the low back and the hip joints. If you can, get your arms in front of your legs so that you can pull against your feet, push against your legs, roll your pelvis forward, push your belly forward, try to elongate, try not to round down. We want to try to lengthen out toward the feet. Ultimately, if you can, we're going to lay the forehead down in this medial arch, in the medial arches. So just keep pulling, roll the pelvis forward, exhale. Rocking back and forth can really help.
Try walking your pelvis in a side-to-side motion toward your heels as close as you can, and then back away, stretching your body out. This is a very powerful mobilizing move for the low back, SI joints, pelvis, and hips.
This is another move that
I highly recommend just pause the video, especially if you find it troublesome. Okay, round up and over onto your belly for cobra.
Legs parallel.
Hands on the floor. Whenever we have the hands on the floor, we want good hand posture. That means fingers and thumbs spread nice and wide, just like the paws of a big animal. So we place the hands beside the shoulders, press down into the floor. We keep the elbows bent. Let the shoulders come up around the ears, to the ears, and that's where we don't want them. We want to push them back and down, away from the ears. And now once we're in this position, we begin lifting. First one hip and then the other hip off the floor, all the while pushing the belly forward. Breathe and relax the shoulders back and down. We're stretching all the abdominal muscles, and actually we're stretching the anterior spine and some really deep muscles in the pelvic bowl, the psoas muscle, and all the little tiny intervertebral muscles too. We press up, all the way back and over into a counter stretch. Full exhale. And we'll come back up onto hands and knees. Forearm stretch. Spread those fingers and thumbs nice and wide. Place the hand on the floor. We want the middle finger pointing back towards the knee. Same thing with the other hand. Now when you look down, you want to see that the arms are parallel with each other. So we lock and unlock the elbows. Ideally, you want your arms to be straight too. So if they're not straight, this movement is a very powerful aligning stretch through the elbow. Lock them and peel the hands up and wrist rolls. Clasp the hands, forearms together, and we begin rolling the wrists and reverse. Okay, kneeling back stretch. Toes are curled under, hands on the back of the pelvis. Take a breath, exhale back, support your weight with your hands, and inhale, drop your chin to your chest. Don't throw yourself forward, just drop the chin to the chest and work back and forth. We're just going to follow your own breathing cycle. Support your weight with your hands as you drop back. You want to feel a nice stretch between your knees and your shoulders. Important part of this move, make sure you're keeping your buttocks muscles relaxed, especially when you lean back. If you can relax them, you'll feel your lower back let go.
Keep the outsides of your legs parallel.
So we drop back. Now this is an advanced move. Don't try this unless you feel able. We're going to drop back, put the hands on the heels, push the pelvis forward, and let the head drop back. Now we're going to bring the chin to the chest 3 times. Exhaling as you lift the head. 3rd time we come up and over onto hands and knees. Toes are still curled under. Good hand posture again, remember, fingers and thumbs spread wide, arms parallel. Cat stretch. Inhale, head looks up. Exhale.
Tuck your chin to your chest and tuck your pelvis under.
Imagine there's a rainbow between the crown of your skull and the tip of your tailbone, arching very nicely in both directions. We want to feel articulation between each and every vertebrae all the way down the spine. Back to center, hip circles, pelvis over to the left, round up, over to the right, and arch out behind. This move is a wonderful move for anybody, basically no matter how stiff they are, and especially if they have low back pain. It's a wonderful hip mobilizer, Works the SI joint, the sacroiliac hinges, the lumbar spine, and the hip joints. And reverse. Just relax the shoulders. And let the head and the neck go with this movement. And breathe. Back to center. And over to sitting for sitting back stretch. Let's roll the wrists again first. Forearms together. Reverse. Okay. Good hand posture, fingers and thumbs spread nice and wide. Put those forearms tight against your upper thighs. You want the feet parallel in hip width, just like standing. The two important parts to this movement are pressing the palms down into the floor, and as you press up, we want the feet perfectly parallel. If your feet aren't parallel, please try to parallel them. You press up, drop the head back, exhale, and inhale as you drop down, checking your feet on the way down again. That's the movement. Here we go. If you're not paralleling your feet, then you're stretching, but you're not stretching your skeleton in an aligned way. And remember, if you're stretching and you're not keeping your body aligned, you're basically just setting yourself up for more misalignment. Press your palms down. Okay, drop down. Let's roll the wrists again first. Forearms together. Reverse. Okay. And hip extension. Over onto your right side. Right palm down on your right elbow. Reach up and reach across the transverse arch of the balls of the foot. Now, if you can't grab this, you'll want to use a towel or something, a strap around your foot like Petra's doing. We're going to lock and unlock this knee. Try to keep the leg vertical between the floor and the ceiling. Okay, with the leg locked, shake the foot loose on the ankle. And we're going to lay it down gently, medial arch to the floor, bring it back up, down again, bring it back up. We'll go down again once more. With the medial arch on the floor, lock your knee, try to rotate your knee medially and laterally toward the floor and away from the floor, and bring it back up. This is the fun part. Lock your knee. Try to keep your leg vertical. Roll your pelvis down flat. It helps if you keep this leg relatively straight. And push up. We want to drop the pelvis flat down onto the floor and push it back up to 90 degrees if you can. Try to keep your foot flat to the ceiling, the leg vertical. See how much movement you can get in that hip joint. Drop it down and lay it down gently. Other side. So on your left side, left elbow, left palm down, reach up, reach across the transverse arch, lock and unlock your knee. Relax your shoulder now. You get a free stretch through your shoulder as you lock your knee. Lock it, shake your foot loose. If your foot doesn't move up there, that means your calf muscles are very tight, yanking your foot down on top of or into your ankle joint. Okay, with the leg locked, we lay it down once, gently, bring it back up. Down again. Once more, all the way down. We drop it down, medial arch on the floor, keep it on the floor, and rotate the knee medially and laterally toward the floor and away from the floor. And bring it back up. Lock it, roll the pelvis down, push it back up. Keep the foot flat to the ceiling if you can. Try to keep your leg vertical. This also is a wonderful move for mobilizing the hip joint, the low back. Roll it down and lay it down gently. Good. Dog pose with movement. Good hand posture, fingers and thumbs spread wide, arms parallel. Don't get your arms too wide. If they're going up into a triangle, all that pressure is going to go right into your neck. Don't want to do that. If you keep your arms parallel like this, we take all the strain down the side, strengthening the sides. Okay, so we go up. Feet are hip width apart, just like when standing. Arms locked, legs locked. Inhale, head looks up. Exhale, chin to the chest. Use your breath to push yourself up. This is a strengthening move also. So if you can't do so many of these right away, don't worry about it. Just keep your palms pressed down. Keep the weight off your the heel of your hands. And we'll do one more. Press up and walk the feet in toward the hands. Tuck the chin, drop the pelvis, round, up. Great. Udiyama. This is a wonderful move for releasing tension in the abdomen, releasing tension in the organs, and also for massaging the colon. It's a very important move. I highly recommend you practice this until you get it. Hands on the knees. Take a breath, exhale completely. While holding your breath out, we're going to pull the stomach in and snap it out as many times as you can without breathing. We're going to work up to about 16 of those, and we're going to do 2 sets of those. So here we go. Big breath, exhale completely. Take another breath, pull the stomach in, up under the ribs, and push it out. And roll up when you're finished. So that's a very powerful move, and if you have trouble with that, I highly recommend working on it until you can do it for organ health and also to massage the colon. So we have 5 neck moves now. And remember what I said about visualizing your spine as a slinky. You want to imagine that the neck starts up here at the base of the skull and actually goes all the way down to here. And as we're doing the neck moves, try to feel the decompression all the way down the spine, and that will effectively decompress the discs. Also, when we do the neck rolls, imagine there's a ball back here about this size, and as we drop the head to the back, don't let your head come back any further than that ball would allow. So here we go with neck rolls. Chin is tucked. We begin rolling from side to side, just letting the head hang heavy to the front, letting the arc gradually increase, and we pendulum up. Over, around to the back. Remember the ball there. Lift the head up and out to the corner of the ceiling. We go one time one direction, and then reverse. Head floats up light away from the shoulders to the back, and hangs heavy to the front. Breathe. Back to center, camel. Circles with the chin, reach out with the chin, pull the chin in. Try not to let the rib cage get pulled into this movement. Just make nice circles. One more, okay. Forward, back. Just push the face forward and bring it back. Forward and back. As you bring it back, tuck the chin and try to elongate up the back of the neck as though you're being lifted by your crown.
Very simple move. All these neck moves are very simple, but very profound. We'll keep your neck nice and loose. Okay, with the head back, side to side. We turn to the side. Now, as you're turning to the side, imagine there's a pole right between your ears lifting you up as you come across. And across to the other side. And when you get across the side, you may want to practice with a mirror because you want to keep your head perfectly vertical so that your head ends up being in that position.
Imagine your head as a helium balloon floating up, away from your body. Your spine is the string, lengthening.
Back to center, chin over shoulder. Tuck the chin, roll up. Try to push your chin over your shoulder, not your forehead, not your nose, but your chin, and try to keep your head vertical. This is another one. You'll want to look in the mirror, roll across to the other side, and make sure your head's vertical. Once again, just like that skeleton there. Just the head moving. One more. Great. The full body shoulder circles.
Make sure your feet are parallel and hip width.
Hands on the shoulder cuff. And arch to the back, curve to the front.
Bend your knees now and keep them bent.
Imagine the ceiling drop down right onto your head here right now, and you can't bob up and down. We want to make big circles with the elbows, bring the whole body into play with this. Really get the pelvis moving. Let's reverse. Nice arching and curving with the spine. It's like a snaky S movement. See how effortless you can get this movement to happen. Breathe. And back to center. Isolated shoulder circles, hands clasped, fingers intertwined. Pull the shoulders back, lift up, and drop forward. Back up and forward. Remember I told you about the shoulder girdle, those two clavicles in the front and two scapulas in the back. Supposed to be able to move separate from the rib cage. And reverse, forward, up, and back. Now all those neck moves, as well as these shoulder circles that we're doing, are supposed to be quiet. If you hear a lot of clicking, crunching, and grinding going on, then that's your body talking to you, saying, what have you been doing all these years? These movements will start to fluff up all that gristly tissue. Turn them back into nice, soft, fluffy sponges, and it'll be silent. Okay, back to center. So the next move, chest stretch. We pull the fists, the fingers into the low back, push away, full extension, and lift up as high as you can. Try to keep the head up.
Keep your knees bent.
And lift up as high as you can with the hands. This gives a nice stretch across the chest as well as an aligning stretch through the elbows. One more. We press up, lift up, head up, and we drop forward. Go ahead and bend your knees. Drop all the way forward. Shake your head loose. It's a good time to check your feet. Make sure they're behaving, parallel and hip width. Keep exhaling. Try to let the hands drop over the head. And now let's lock and unlock the knees. Try to let your chest drop toward your thighs. Shake that head loose. Breathe. We bend the knees, let the hands drop to the back of the pelvis, tuck the chin, round up. Head comes up last. We bring the fists now across to one side. This is the shoulder cuff and the chest stretch. Try to push the elbows together and try not to arch your back too much. Push the elbows together. This one you can help yourself out. This side over here, you can just lean against the wall or a door jamb to try to help get a little bit more of a stretch. stretching that shoulder cuff. Other side, bring it across. Bend those knees, try to keep your back flat. Try to push those elbows together. Breathe. Okay, back to center. Shoulder cuff stretch. Pull the right arm across the body, straight across. Pull it up at an angle. Pull it straight up. Put the palm against the back. Bend into the knees. Drop over to the side. Take another breath. And exhale. We're dropping over to the left side here. Come back up and switch. Pull that left arm across the body, straight across. Pull it up at an angle. Pull it straight up. Once again, palm against the back. Try to lift the head. Bend the knees. Drop over to the right. Exhale. Take another breath and exhale down a little more. Okay, we come up, arrow squats. Now for this one, we want to step the feet out just a little bit, and if you have trouble doing these squats, you want to just turn the feet out into a wider stance and turn them out a little bit for a horse stance. Also, if you have trouble with this, you can practice by holding onto a counter, holding onto doorknobs, something to get your body used to going through this position. So here we go, arms out in front, take a breath. And here we go, down, exhale, take another breath, here we go, up. Inhale, and exhale. Now if you have knee problems, you want to do these very slowly, even if you don't have knee problems. It's not a good idea to go too fast down into these squats. Know your own body. Let's drop down and stay down for just a moment. And this is a good place where if you need help, just hold on to something to get your body used to being in this position. You want to make sure that you're keeping your medial arches lifted. Don't collapse in. Don't collapse those medial arches, okay? Keep them lifted. And we come up. Step out into a wide horse stance, lifting the medial arches. Nice curve in there. Arms come out to the side, and rib cage floats from side to side, separate from the pelvis. We stabilize the legs and the pelvis, softening the belly, keeping the back flat.
Tuck your pelvis under.
Nice massage for that low back and the whole abdominal cavity. Everything in there. Okay, back to center. We hold the ball. Nice big ball. The ball floats up. Inhaling. Take it back behind the head without arching your back. Keep your back flat. I'll come out, turn, drop down. Try to drop down a little bit deeper. Sit on the horse. We come up, out, turn. Again, we come up, out. You can feel those thighs about now. How about you? We come up, out, down. Let's just put the hands on the knees now. And lock the arms. Rib cage stretch. Turn, look over one shoulder, exhale, try to push that opposite knee away. Keep that chest lifted. And try to get a little bit different vector through the rib cage and the spine for each one of these side stretches.
Look at a different spot each time you look over your shoulder.
Okay. Dog pose. Good hand posture, fingers and thumbs spread nice and wide, arms are parallel. Press the palms down. That keeps the weight off the heel of the hand, which helps protect the wrists. We want the feet hip width. And what we're going to do is just lock one knee and try to push that heel down to the floor. Just work back and forth a few times at your own pace. And you may want to look and see if your knee is aligned with your ankle bones. We want the knee tracking straight through the middle of those two ankle bones. Okay, let's lock both knees. Try to push both heels down. Push your chest toward your thighs.
Push your face toward your knees. Press your palms into the floor. Push your heels down and breathe. You may want to push your pelvis toward the ceiling and try to relax your shoulders. Take another breath. Relax the shoulders. Try to relax into this pose. I know it seems like a difficult thing to do, but just see if you can relax and see what happens. Okay, we drop down, hands and knees, toes are still curled under, cat stretch. One more cat stretch. Head looks up, inhaling, exhale, chin to the chest. This cat stretch should feel a little bit easier than the first one we did about halfway through this routine. By now, all the joints and hinges have been oiled with our movement. Feeling that nice arch from the crown of the skull all the way down to the tip of the tailbone. Back to center, hip circles. Try to let that movement travel up through the spine, relaxing the shoulders. Let the head and the neck go with the movement. And reverse. This helps work out any stiffness or soreness in that low back. Keep breathing. And back to center. Onto your back for some rolling. Going to try to do straight leg rolling. That means holding the legs behind the knees with the knees locked. If you can't roll with your legs straight, then that's okay to roll with your knees bent. Any way that you can start rolling. This is a very important movement working towards spinal health. As you can, then you'll just work on trying to lock the knees. It gives us a nice stretch up through the back of the legs. Try to pull your chest toward your thighs, and we want the elbows nice and round out to the side. Breathe. Okay, we roll down for a spinal twist. Extend the right leg, bring the left leg and hip over, bring it all the way down to the floor with your right hand. We want to press into the floor with your right elbow so you can just twist your rib cage and your shoulder under just a little bit more. Once you're set in this position, we have the back of the left hand on the floor, down by your pelvis. Start to slide it on the floor, trying to keep it on the floor, all the way up and over to the other side. You may want to practice this movement holding on to a light weight, maybe 4 or 5, up to 8 pounds if you can keep your hand down on the floor. Just to give a little bit more of a stretch here, we're trying to feel a nice long line from the hand through the shoulder, down through the ribs and the spine, all the way down into this hip and leg. Breathe. We roll back to center and over to the other side. Extend the left leg, bring the right leg and hip up and over, bring it all the way down to the floor. Ideally, we want to keep the knee and the foot, the medial arch on the floor. Let's start the movement now with the right hand up and over the head, over to the other side. Go as slow with this movement as you want to. Don't try to force anything. It doesn't do any good to force anything. Remember, all the release happens with the breath. So if you find a place where it gets stuck, just stop, back off a little bit, take another breath, soften the body. Any part of the body that you can soften at any time while you're working with any of these movements helps to take the release all through the body. We come back to center, and we're going to roll again. Straight legs, pull the chest toward the thighs, elbows wide. There are lots of ways to do these rolls. Even if you can't roll with your knees bent, you can try to hold here and just try to get a little bit of a roll happening. However you can start, that's where you have to start. We all start where we are. I wasn't this flexible when I started doing this routine, putting this routine together. And we're going to roll up into the shoulder stand. Only do this movement if you feel able and capable, okay? Don't do this if you have any doubts. Little by little, as your body starts to become more flexible, you'll be more able to do it. Okay, so we roll up, walk the hands up the back. Try not to get the elbows too wide. And try not to let the feet come back behind the pelvis, but try to keep the feet over the pelvis, not back behind the head. You can just let the legs be soft. Now let's rock the head gently from side to side. We're not forcing any movement in this position. We're just exploring whatever range of motion's available. Remember, all of these movements are just explorations through the skeleton, exploring what ranges of motion are available. That's what makes it so different from stretching. It's not a torment. We're just playing with the body. Let's let the legs drop out in a V. Lock and unlock your knees. Breathe. With the knees locked, let's rotate the feet at the ankles. And reverse directions. Bring the feet back up over the pelvis. Take a breath. And we're going to begin dropping the feet back behind the head. Let the knees bend on either side of the head. Full exhale. And now we let the knees straighten, the legs straighten, the knees lock. Let's bring the hands back behind the head. This is the plow posture. And begin rolling down. Now, if you have trouble with this, practice by putting your hands under your couch and helping you roll down. We want to try to keep the hands on the floor, the shoulders on the floor, and the head on the floor. We're only rolling down until the legs hit the vertical and the pelvis is on the floor. We come back up. We're going to do this 3 times. Lifting up, rolling down. This is a wonderful move because it lengthens the lower back, it strengthens the abdominal muscles, and it balances the front and the back. When you do it the 3rd time, remember, if you have trouble with that, just go slow with it, pause the tape. Once you're down, we do sacral rocking, hands on the belly. We're just rocking the sacrum on the floor from front to back. It's nice and round. We're just rocking it, just helping to work out any stiffness or soreness in that low back. Lift the pelvis off the floor as high as you can, and using your hands, soften your belly. Try to cave the belly in. Round the spine down, 1 vertebra at a time. Gradually, until the sacrum's on the floor. We'll do that 3 times. So imagine you're holding a heavy chain up off the floor, and you're just lowering it down, 1 link at a time. That's how we're dropping the spine down.
Make sure your feet are hip width and parallel.
And once you're down the 3rd time, if your back's bothering you, just leave your knees bent until your back cools down. Otherwise, let your legs slide out. Put your body wherever it feels comfortable. Let your eyes close and congratulate yourself. Good job. Feel that energy moving through the body, moving very differently now than it was 1 short hour ago.
Trapped, stagnant fluid and energy has been released. New pathways are now open through your muscles and joints. This energy, which may feel like water or wind flowing through you, is your life force, your chi. It is your vital energy. It is healing energy, and it's flowing to every cell in your body, revitalizing and rejuvenating. With every exhale, allow yourself to sink a little deeper and relax. Take this time for giving thanks for your body, which is getting better and better every day, for these movements, which are allowing you to learn more about your body, giving you more body awareness and flexibility. And you can take this time to thank yourself for spending the time and the energy for this healing work. Pause the video now if you would like a longer downtime. Let your legs spread apart a little now, and let your arms move out away from your sides. Visualize a bright goldfish floating in a clear bag of water. The goldfish is your skeleton. The bag of water is your body. As you gently shake the bag of water, the goldfish sloshes around inside. As you gently shake your body, try to feel your skeleton floating around inside your body, floating freely, connected to nothing, with space between all the bones. The purpose of this routine is not stretching muscles, but setting the skeleton free. In this way, we gain the deepest level of flexibility.
Now let's bring the legs into parallel. Let's bring the arms up back behind the head and stretching gently up one side and then the other side. Not a big movement, and still visualizing the skeleton floating inside, space between all the bones. So we're stretching very easily. It's like a cat stretches. We've all seen cats stretching after getting up from a nap. And let's bring the arms out to the side, bend the knees, feet on the floor. Take a breath, let both knees drop off to one side, full exhale, and feel the tension as it starts to bubble up wherever it's coming from. Take another breath and exhale. Relax down a little bit more. And we inhale up and over to the other side. Exhaling. Don't force it, just wherever it gets stuck, just stop there. Take another breath. Soften. And relax. Good. And back to the center. Just place the hands on the belly. Once again, we lift the pelvis off the floor once more. And rounding the back down, letting the belly cave in, one vertebra at a time. Gradually relaxing the back muscles and the buttocks muscles, and finally, when the sacrum hits the floor, the leg muscles relax. Gently rock the legs from side to side and feel your pelvis floating freely. And now you just may want to take a minute and move your body however it feels good, however you want to move it, however it wants to move or not move. And when you're ready, you can roll over to your side, push yourself up to sitting, and get on with your day, feeling better than ever before. So, that's the Flextasy routine. I hope you enjoyed doing it and will continue to enjoy doing it for the rest of your life. Just think, when you can perform all of these movements smoothly and easily, even if this is the only stretching and flexibility work you ever do, you will have attained a level of flexibility uncommon in our society. It's simple, it's easy, and making the Flextasy routine an integral part of your life is really quite a minor energy and time investment to ensure flexibility and mobility throughout your entire life. Instead of feeling intimidated or depressed about your current level of flexibility, I urge you to get excited and inspired about the fact that you now have in your possession all you need to begin and maintain a lifelong flexibility program. You can turn back the clock with this program and continue to work with your body until it's looser and more comfortable than ever before. It's up to you each and every day to make the day as you want it, to make your body as you want it, and to become the kind of person you want. I know you want to have a healthy, flexible, pain-free body, and you can have it. It only requires a commitment to your desire. Remember, whatever movements you can do now, continue to make them, and you will always be able to make them. And whatever movements you cannot do yet, practice them until you can. Don't become like the majority of people we all know and see around us every day, who are stiff, inflexible, unhappy, and uncomfortable with their body. Embody this concept, become flexible, and teach others by being an exception to the rule. You know, the wonderful truth is, as you increase your flexibility, you increase the vital energy and the fluid flow to all parts of your body. You will also become lighter in mood and spirit, and the combination of all of this is what perfect health is all about. You're looking for just a little improvement each day. Remember, your body became tight and inflexible gradually over time, and that's how flexibility is reclaimed gradually over time. Be patient with yourself and go slow. Stick with this program, and I guarantee you'll be pleased with your results. Remember the ancient Chinese proverb the Flextasy system is based on. That which is flexible and flowing will prosper and grow, and that which is rigid and blocked will wither and die. So use this tape, change your life, and let me know of your results. I'm Blue Dunn, the originator of the Flextasy system of flexibility, and I wish you success and a long, happy life with a healthy, pain-free, flexible body. So good luck and stay loose.
Please refer to videotape number 2 for the advanced version of the Flextasy routine, which can be completed in a half-hour time period. Use tape number 2 only after you've learned the whole routine on tape number 1 and can comfortably and easily perform all of the movements. Trying to follow tape number 2 before you are ready may result in injury or, at the least, discouragement. For more information about healthy lifestyle products from Evolution Health and Fitness, visit our website at evolutionhealth.com.